Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good middle of the night for the insomniacs. This is Two Across, a podcast where two friends sitting on opposite sides of the Atlantic catch up over a crossword. I am Rob Cole in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
And I'm Theo in London, England, Great Britain, United Kingdom. Hello.
Increíble. You forgot Europe, although, that's tenuous at this point.
It is definitely tenuous at this point, yeah. It's quite confusing for young kids, the number of countries that they live in when they live in England. My son, who is 5, cannot quite get his head around how we can live in England, Great Britain, and the United Kingdom all at the same time. So I tend to keep Europe out of things anyway, because it just overcomplicates an already complicated situation.
So that puts me in mind of Aesop's fable of the faun, who welcomed a man into his house who was cold, and the man came in and he was blowing on his hands to warm them up. And the faun said, "Oh, that's interesting." And then the faun said, "Oh, well, let me help you warm up. Here's some warm soup." And he gave some warm soup to the man, and the man took the soup and blew on it to cool it down. And the faun was absolutely outraged and kicked the man out because he could not accept someone in his house who could blow both hot and cold with the same breath.
Oh, very
So there
nice.
you go. Too many categories. Yeah.
Too many categories. It is. And I totally appreciate that. And actually, even I think only fairly recently got my head around the real difference between Great Britain and the United Kingdom, in that Great Britain is the island that encompasses England, Scotland, Wales. And the United Kingdom obviously encompasses Northern Ireland as well.
I would suggest full unification under the brand England and be done with the rest. Huh? I think that's a perfectly fine political solution.
Yeah, can't see what could go wrong there.
No,
Rob. Absolutely nothing.
So 2 things, because we have to get to the wrap up of last week's crossword, or the rappel, as we might say. But I want a little anecdote this morning. I heard my daughter's alarm when she woke up because I was downstairs doing my morning meditation. And I thought, that sounds a lot like a song by the Animal Collective called My Girls. And so I put that song on this morning and said, check this out, that it sounds a lot like your alarm. And as I was searching for My Girls, the second song that came up on Spotify was an excellent song released in 1931 by a British man, Harry Roy, and his Bat Boys Club. And it is on the Foxtrot Master. This is his, I guess, the greatest hits of Harry Roy. And the song is called My Girl's Pussy.
No.
It said the album was released in 2022, which I guess is when they put a very old album. It actually is from 1931. Boy. It's a cheeky double entendre by Harry Roy, because obviously I think in 1931, the word pussy hadn't fully migrated to its sexual connotation and could still mean a cat. Whereas nowadays, there's just no one who uses that word for a cat. Right? It was sort of, even when it's cold and wet outside, my girl's pussy is warm and dry, or so, I don't know.
So even in 1931, he was shamelessly singing about his girl's pussy. Yeah.
Oh, it's completely cheeky. You must check this out after.
Well, maybe we could insert a little clip of it here, so listeners can draw their own conclusions.
I think it would be in the public domain, wouldn't it? I mean, if it was released in 1931 and we're 2024, we could shamelessly play that song without any royalties needing to be paid. So here, listeners, is a clip of Harry Roy and his Bat Boys Club playing My Girl's Pussy.
There's one pet I like to pet, and every evening we get set. I stroke it every chance I get. It's my girl's pussy. Seldom plays and never purrs, and I love the thoughts it stirs, but I don't mind because it's hers. My girl's pussy.
Okay, so Theo, quick wrap up of last week's episode after Harry Roy has regaled us.
Can I just say quickly on that evidence, Rob, you would be a fantastic radio DJ. That intro was absolutely seamless. It was lovely, lovely and smooth.
I wasn't meditating this morning when I heard my daughter's alarm. I was practicing in front of the mirror.
There you go. We always suspected. So housekeeping from episode number 3 of series 2, which was the last one. I only had one, which you may already have got on your list, but just in case, I will mention it, which is the etymology of the word redolent.
Yes.
Which you very smartly suggested may be to do with smell. And it turns out you are 100% correct. Because it comes from the Latin, which is red for back or again, combined with olere, which is to smell. So it literally means going back to a smell.
Interesting. Or going back to a memory based on smell?
Yeah, the example given is the church was old, dark, and redolent of incense. I nearly said incest there by mistake, which
Yes. No,
that
would be.
maybe it could also be redolent of this church, but that might be taking
But
things in a slightly different
hopefully
direction.
not.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
So I got one for you, Theo, which was the term for when a word such as wet, wet, wet starts to become awfully strange in one's mind. And there is a term for it. I thought there was a word for it, and I'm wrong. There is a term for it, and it's called semantic satiation. That rolls right off the
Oh,
tongue. So semantic
nice.
satiation is when you become, I suppose, over full with a word to the extent that all of a sudden it starts to appear very strange to you. So it is described as a psychological phenomena in which repetition causes a word or phrase to temporarily lose meaning for the listener. And interestingly, for our humble podcast, the term was coined by a fellow named Leon Jakobovits. I'm butchering that, no doubt. And he coined it in his doctoral dissertation in 1962 at McGill University in Montreal. So
Wow.
there you
What
go,
a
a little
great
link
phrase.
fact.
Is that link must be linked to the word sated, as
Yes.
in satiation. So you are literally full up with the word in the case we cited in the last episode, in the example, it was wet, 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 in
Yeah.
which case you keep saying it and the word wet just becomes completely meaningless in your head. And
Yeah.
you're literally drowning in wetness.
Yes.
So I like that. I really, really like that. And it's nicely alliterative as well.
It is. It is.
So let's keep that one on the back burner. Should we require it again?
Yeah. So thank you, Leo, for your term, which we can now trump out
Indeed.
at will when we become over full of a word.
Props to Leo.
Props to Leo.
How's your week been, Rob?
Pretty calm. This was Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. So we did the obligatory turkey. My mom came down. We did those things. That was great. Yesterday was Thanksgiving Monday, which happened to be extremely cold and wet and rainy. And so it became sort of a lie about watch television and do nothing day with the kids, which we haven't done in a while because it's been nice weather. So yeah, good. Yourself?
Cool. Yeah, Thanksgiving, not a thing here, obviously.
No.
We've been immersed in the administration of secondary school applications, which is
Yes.
a topic I did mention last week as being something I might soapbox about. So if you'll allow me, I will just climb onto my soapbox very briefly on this
Absolutely.
subject, which is only to say that we live in London, which is obviously a densely populated city with lots of secondary schools. So perhaps this experience doesn't relate to the nation at large. But my feeling is a lot of parents will sympathize with the situation we're in, which is that we have this weird combination of a comprehensive system, but also a selective system
Yeah.
in this country, whereby we're surrounded by comprehensive schools, but many of them offer so-called bursaries and scholarships based on very particular criteria. So they offer things for sports or for music or for drama or for whatever it might be. So it leaves you as a parent feeling a little bit confused because on the one hand, you think, well, our local school, which doesn't have any of these criteria, which is our shoe-in option,
Yeah.
you think, well, great, that's easy. But then, of course, everyone else starts talking about all these other sort of selective situations, and you think, oh, maybe we should go and look at these schools. So you go and look at these schools, and then your child begins to want to go to some of these other schools and want to try for some of these things. And then you sort of end up in this situation where you feel like it's become a proxy grammar situation again,
Mm-hmm.
where suddenly loads of kids are going up for exams and bursaries and tests in this, that, and the other. And much as your instinct is to try and hold your line and say, no, we're going to go to the local school and hang the selection process, you also can't help but get swept along in it, because obviously lots of other kids around you are going for these things, and it just leaves you feeling a bit confused, very anxious. That no doubt passes on to your child, and I feel quite bemused about it, and I rather wish that we had a proper comprehensive system that just did away with selection entirely, because I think all this kind of selection by the back door just really leaves everybody feeling, well, as I've said, quite overwhelmed by the whole process. So that's my little rant on that.
Yeah, and the other thing that the selection process does, because I went through this as well with my oldest daughter a few years back, with the same situation as you, same local school, and it gives parents the opportunity to differentiate themselves and thereby make themselves and their child feel superior based on the fact that they may or may not have gotten one of these scholarships and your child may or may not have gotten one themselves, which I think any opportunity by some parents to jump on that pedestal and have their kids put on that pedestal is welcomed. And I find that really gross.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It is gross. And
They're 12 years old. Come on.
No, I mean, not even 12. My daughter's only 10 and she's going through all of this now, and all the kids are talking in the playground about who's got into what school and whatever. And it's just really, yeah. I genuinely don't lay the blame at the feet of the parents, because I think if the system invites that kind of situation, which it does, then you can't blame the parents for sort of wanting the best thing for their child as they see it, and therefore trying to do what they can to get them into the school that they think is going to end in the best outcome for their kid. But it means that schools that don't do the selection by the back door then do kind of suffer, because a lot of the kids that ordinarily would have gone there end up going elsewhere. And that sort of leads to a bit of a herd mentality where everybody starts thinking, oh, we better not go there either. So it just, as I say, it just sort of leaves a feeling of bewilderment, I think, about regarding the best thing to do for your kid. And in our case, we've taken the decision. This is really her decision. She needs to feel in control of where she's going. If that is the local school, brilliant. If it's one of these other schools, then fine. We will support her to go for one of those. But ultimately, it's her choice. And I don't want to get sort of too much into what we're doing, because I that's not the point I'm trying to make. But I think really, as I say, just going through this whole process has left me just feeling a little bit kind of disillusioned with the situation in this country as it is at the moment. And I think things should be clarified. Anyway, that's that. Here endeth the soapbox.
For sure. I mean, there's just so many things to add to it, because you're also adjacent to a lot of boroughs where people don't maybe have that ability to be as selective and to get the resources to tutor their kids or whatever some parents are doing. And so inevitably those kids aren't going to have the same choice set. They're not being privately instructed on the cello, and therefore they're probably not going to pass the music scholarship exam at XYZ school. And so it is divisive and exclusive very early on. And so, within the milieu that we lived in South London when I was there, was people of a certain background socio-demographically, let's put it that way, who are competing with each other tooth and nail to a certain extent, at least some, to get into these schools. Meanwhile, much of the rest of the city doesn't have that possibility. And so you just get into your own very small bubble, and the kids are sort of competing within that bubble, or forced to a certain extent, but not seeing the bigger picture around you, which I think is really troubling. And that's where this wedge gets driven very early on. And it's one thing I'd say about, to toot the horn of my country, which I don't do all the time, but one of the things we were happy about when we came back is that doesn't exist. There is a local high school, and my kids go to the local high school. 2 of them go there. The third will go there in a year or two's time. That's how it is. And you deal with it. And now, of course, then you get into issues of postcodes and stuff like that. And that does happen.
Sure.
And that, I know in the US, that's a phenomenon where people will move into the right postcode to get into the right school and stuff. So I'm not saying it's perfect. And my kids go to a quite a good school, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, there is no perfect system, and it is fraught.
It is fraught. And now I'm actually going through it myself for the first time. I'm really seeing the reality of it and how it impacts families and friendships and all that stuff. And it's it's horrible. Anyway, I'm sure this conversation will be continued, because this process will go on for many more months for us. So I'll keep you posted on how it goes. And
if there's anything I can share from our experience, obviously always more than happy to do so, because I think my eldest and your eldest share many similarities in terms of being rather studious and quite mature for their age.
And you were quite right to toot the horn of Canada on that one, because I think clearly that is a better situation than the one we have here. It may not be perfect. Of course, it's never going to be perfect. But I think everybody playing by the same rules is a good starting point for this. So that's all I'm going to say. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yes, let's get into the crossword.
Let's
Let's go to the crossword, because crossing words is fun. Okay, so we are doing Guardian Quick Crossword number 16,987. Oh, we are creeping imperceptibly closer to, even perceptibly at this point, to 17,000, to a new crossword millennium. So
exciting.
So for listeners, we do this crossword blind. We have not seen the clues before. We give ourselves 30 minutes to do it. We try to complete it as best we can. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We are on episode 4 of season 2, and Theo, if I'm not mistaken, we are 2 up, 2 and 1 up.
We are 2-1, like a typical football match.
Yeah,
we're in the lead, but we can't get complacent.
We cannot get complacent.
A strong defense and possibly to get another goal to make us comfortable. So, should we dive in? I've just started the 30-minute timer.
Yes, sir.
And we have a nice, I hope, easy clue to start off with, one across, which is Bruce Wayne's Alfred, for instance. And if we do our best Michael Caine impressions, that would be a butler.
Michael Caine just made an appearance on the pod.
Thanks, Michael. You can go now. Okay.
Yeah. Look for those royalty checks in the mail, Michael.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was, what a moment. I mean, it's taken us, is this episode 31, and we finally bagged Michael Caine. That's quite.
You need a bit of notoriety to get that kind of talent on your pod, but we've done it.
We do.
Should we proceed on the acrosses until we can't get one?
Yeah, go on.
Because I think the next 2 are possible. So number 4 is a 1965 Bob Dylan song, Something of a Thin Man.
Is it another B?
It is indeed.
Is it a ballad?
Ballad of a Thin Man.
Great.
Lovely. Then
can you do your best, Bob?
Oh my God.
Can we get Bob Dylan on the show?
I don't know about that.
No, we can't.
No, we certainly can't. I don't know what that came out as. I think
That's
that
was.
Right.
I think to be
that
fair,
was Ronald Reagan, actually.
It was better than my Michael Caine. Let's be honest. Oh dear me.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan made an appearance from Beyond the Dead.
Yeah, welcome to the Impressionist Show. So,
well, I'm not really sure about those policies, Theo. Okay. 8 across.
Yeah. That's somewhere between Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker and possibly, I don't know, like some kind of video game mobster. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there was a Joker-esque kind of thing in there.
Yeah.
All right. 3 across, gentle push. Let's gently push our impressions out of the pod for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, let's gently forget that ever happened.
All right.
8 across, gentle push. A shove, could it be?
It could be shove, or I thought a nudge, because a shove's not so gentle, is it?
I suppose not, no. A nudge is nicer. Let's go with nudge.
But then, let's just check. Or are we allowed to check the downs?
Let's get it down. We can check it down. Okay. 1 down, harmless. 6 letters beginning with B.
So that would be B space N if nudge were right, and B space...
It's definitely B space N then, isn't it? Because that's clearly banal.
Does banal take 2 N's?
Oh, shit. No, it's not clearly banal. Sorry.
See, I thought that too. What about 2 down would be one's small fry? Toddlers?
Yeah.
No, but toddler. Okay. Oh, yeah. One small fry, not small fries. Yes, toddler.
Singular.
Yeah. One
that
toddler.
works.
You don't ever want more than one of those at a time.
Oh, my goodness me, no.
No.
I mean, parents of twins, thoughts and prayers. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a good solid 5.5-year gap between ours. So
well done.
Didn't have to go through that at the same time.
We were not so smart. We shoved one kid in that gap.
In the middle. You did.
Right in the Jeesley heart of it, as my father would say.
You put some meat in that sandwich, whereas we just enjoyed the bread. That is not to cast aspersions on the quality of flavor.
No.
Or protein content of our eldest and youngest children.
Certainly not.
Harmless now potentially is B space N space.
Correct.
So harmless. Let's come back to it.
Yeah, let's come back to it.
Let's not get too...
I'm still a bit concerned about nudge because 3 down is forcibly remove, which is E space
Oh, yeah.
space if it's nudge, but one would imagine that to be evict, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're right.
That's causing us some issues. I think this area we might be
Oh, dear.
making a mess.
What could gentle push be then? Because if it ends in I, not that many words. So 5 letters, third letter D, if toddler's correct. I'm even questioning toddler now.
No, you know what? Let's come back to it and see if we can get
Yeah.
some ones that will bring us up from the bottom and confirm or infirm.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on.
What about 5 down, which would take the A of ballad and it would be clear of blame, 7 letters long.
Clear of blame.
So it could be too clear someone of blame because like acquitted could fit, but I think acquitted is it CQ or is it just a straight Q?
It's CQ.
Yeah, so that doesn't fit then. Clear of blame because it could be to acquit, but it's only one T on acquit. So.
Acquittal?
Yeah, but that's a clearing of blame.
Also, does it have it has a double T, doesn't it? So
I think so.
Doesn't fit at all.
What about 6 down? Group who aren't members of the clergy, 5 letters long, starting with L. And that should be pretty straightforward.
Are you thinking?
I'm thinking of the laity.
Laity, yes.
Of which we are card-carrying members, Theo.
Oh yeah. Emphasis on the lay. Yes.
Yes.
And that's Laity.
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So 9 across, one's shot or thrown.
I was looking at that
7,
too.
which could be javelin doesn't fit, no.
No.
So it means like one's shot or thrown. So as in you're the thing being shot or thrown.
Or just things that are like a projectile, for instance, is a thing shot or thrown. That could be also a way of looking at it. Oh, there's some interesting stuff in here.
Some more. Oh, a lovely clue here. 7 down, 6 letters, beginning with D. Dull.
Dull.
So
now it could be too dull, which could be deaden.
Yes,
that could be something.
I like that idea.
What about a covering, which is because that would end in E, and it was a Y as the third letter of a 5-letter word meaning covering. That's assuming laity is correct. A covering.
Yeah. So some kind of like outer garment or
yes,
something, a poncho.
Yeah.
Or
a tarp.
A tarp. Oh, Rob.
Oh, here, let's move to something we can get that could be fun to have because it's quite long. I think I might have this. It's 12 across, 9 letters long, and it is a synonym of horizontal, starting with R. Often referred to a strange type of bicycle that you'll sometimes see on a bike path.
Recumbent.
A recumbent, yeah. Do you think that could work?
I always find those bikes really odd when I see them.
They are.
I mean, I kind of look at them and I always think, wow, that's amazing. And then I also think, oh, but that looks just so weird and dangerous and low to the ground. It makes me a bit uneasy, you know.
It looks kind of like it's supposed to be comfortable, but I'm not sure that it is.
Is it? It's meant to be better for your back, isn't it? Is that right?
I suppose.
A more sort of energy efficient way of pedaling.
Yeah. I mean, I always imagine that people took to those bikes because they had challenges on other bikes, you know, that maybe for comfort or for injuries that they had, they were obliged to ride a recumbent bike. But maybe it's a lifestyle choice, Theo.
So a nice one here, I think,
okay,
which might help us quite a lot, which is 9 down.
Yeah.
Sole preoccupation, 9 letters, and assuming recumbent is correct, has an M in the middle.
Correct.
Now, I do have a guess on this.
Oh, wow. I don't.
Which is monomania.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
That's so good. To describe someone who's monomaniacal?
Yes. I really like the word monomania, partly because I am quite monomaniacal myself.
Are you?
Only in the sense of the classic thing, men can't multitask and all of that.
Yes.
I am like that. I get really fixated on individual tasks to the exclusion of all others. I'm monomaniacal in the sense that I jump about from thing to thing, but I can only really focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah, I'm the same. When I have too many things to do, I become very anxious. As when I have one thing that I can just sit in front of for 5 hours, I
Yeah.
become very calm. I
Yeah.
think I've got 2 things here, Theo, that are going to completely
Okay, go
bust
on.
this open. I believe I know the answer now to 1, shot or thrown, and 2, not forcibly removed, 2, clear of blame.
Go on.
So I think that 1 shot or thrown are missiles, or simply
Definitely.
So
Great guess.
now,
Missile, singular, I think.
yeah, it'd probably be missile. It's got to be
Yeah.
one. It's not ones, right? It's 1. And then if you look at 5 down, which assuming
Yeah.
recumbent is ENT, clear of blame is now A space S space
Yeah.
space E. And it would be 2 clear of blame. Like if you were to clear someone of blame, such as the opposite of the laity, if you were
Oh,
a
got
member
you.
of the clergy. And you were,
I absolve you.
yeah. What do you think of that?
I love that.
Oh, and I think, Theo, that might give us a covering as well. Because now covering, 5 letters long, is L space Y space space for a covering.
Ooh.
Think in a very
Go on.
generic sense.
I always think in a very generic sense, Rob.
Like a covering of snow or a covering of dust. Or...
No, you're gonna have to spell it out.
Or a covering of cake, like a layer.
Oh, a layer.
Yeah, like an outer layer.
Of course. I mean, it's an odd clue for layer, I think.
Layer, if you say it enough times, I think you can quickly semantically satiate yourself with layer. It is a weird word. Layer.
It is a layer. Yeah. It is. It is actually, yeah.
It starts to mess with you.
It does. Yeah.
So, Theo, now our 7 down to complete this section, dull is D space E space R space. And this is a very British word. I don't think we would say this so much in non-literary North American English.
Is it double E?
No, I think it's D-R-E.
Again, Rob, I'm sorry. You're going to have to help me.
It would describe the day, today, and yesterday, which is dreary.
Oh, dreary, yeah, of course.
And we don't use that word nearly enough.
No, it's a lovely word. Very onomatopoeic, I think.
It is actually. It is.
Oh, so dreary.
Drear.
It definitely sits in the PG Woodhouse territory, though. Oh, he's so dreary.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Or possibly Nancy Mitford.
Yeah.
Would be a more
accurate
reference.
Let's not get into the Mitfords.
Let's not. We've gone down that rabbit hole, or been tempted down that rabbit hole before, and have wisely stayed out of it.
Yeah.
Harmless, 6 letters. This is 1 down again. We've given up on that, haven't we? But can we get 10 across now that we have those letters, which is a setting agent?
Oh, Theo, I read that several times as selling agent, and I never saw it as so. A setting agent would be, for instance, to set cement or like gelatin. Oh, gelatin.
I want to say
gelatin.
I love it when that happens. You just talk about the clue, and just by talking about it, you land on it. That's very nice. So that now gives our harmless which is 6 letters, a first letter of B and a 5th letter of G.
Yeah. Now.
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, what is it?
It's benign.
Benign. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
That's a good word, benign.
Sorry, I should do the thing that you do, which is I should try and tease you into getting it yourself. Because I could have said, in the case of a tumour that is, not a nasty one or something, but
a friendly tumour.
A friendly, one of those friendly ones, yeah.
But benign is such a good word to describe a person. Oh, he's benign, which means there's nothing malevolent about him, but nothing particularly remarkable or interesting, just sort of harmless.
If someone ever called me benign, I'd be absolutely devastated. I had a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, shout out to Martin, and I used to talk about this mutual friend of ours who shall remain nameless, but we used to always say, he's such a nice guy. But we'd say it
Yeah.
in such a way that really we were implying there's really nothing else to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's such a nice guy, and it to the point of insult, really,
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that I think nice probably sits in the category of benign.
It does.
Right? Can we get gentle push? Can we
Well,
get gentle push, which is A to cross?
we've got it. We'd suggested nudge. It is nudge, and now I think I know what 3 down is, which
Go
is
on.
forcibly removed, and I forcibly remove, and I was obsessed with evict because it's E space T. It's a word that's very close to evict in the sense that it ends in a kt, but it is not evict.
Oh, eject.
Eject.
Like ejector sheet. You're joking.
So the other word to
Sean
take,
Connery there.
it's just
Goldfinger.
yeah.
Can I just quickly on Bond?
Yes.
As you know, as long-term listeners may know, I'm something of a James Bond aficionado, whereas Rob is a Star Trek aficionado. We're in slightly different universes from that point of view. I went away for the weekend and stayed with some friends in an Airbnb that we rented in Surrey next to the Thames. It was a nice big house that clearly had recently been lived in by a family who were now renting it out. But anyway, it was full of James Bond posters and photos and a complete DVD collection and lots of books about Bond. I mean, to the point of it being almost slightly weird. The extent to which this homeowner.
Was that one of the criteria that you clicked on Airbnb when you're playing things like,
Complete surprise.
jacuzzi, double bed, and James Bond
007.
memorabilia aplenty.
Yeah. There was even a photo of Roger Moore in the toilet,
staring at you demurely as he does.
as you did your business, which seemed, I thought, a very appropriate place to put Roger Moore.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway, that was just to say that. And I was delighted. It gave me an excuse to do my party trick for my daughter, which is to name every single James Bond film in order.
Excellent.
Which I was able to do with her checking them off on the DVD box collection.
Okay, because you need a checker and you need people cheering as you go. Otherwise, it's not as impressive.
I won't do that right now because we haven't got time. But talking of time, we've got 11 minutes left.
Oh, shoot. Let's get moving.
And we've got pretty much the entire bottom half. So let's get into it.
Okay, so new territory because we've conquered the top. Let's get the bottom. So we've got to move now. Salvation Army HQ, headquarter, I'm assuming, starting with C, and it is 7 letters long. Salvation Army HQ. I think we need more letters on that because I don't know it off the top of my head. Chicago?
Yes. No.
Why not?
The Salvation Army's British, isn't it?
I don't think so. I
Really?
think it's American. Oh, for sure. Like all the people who ring the bells and collect the money at Christmas. Like in Home Alone. Very American.
Of course. Apologies to all of our Salvation Army US listeners.
Well, I think I'm so let's not make that apology because I might have to turn around and make the same apology to the British listeners. So
it does sound it's a much more yeah, you're right. Good one. That's one for later.
All right.
In it. Okay.
Someone Moses, American folk artist. I don't know this. I should. It is 7 letters long, ending in A space A if Chicago is right. And another test of Chicago would give us advance an idea. I'm thinking Chicago's wrong, dude, because advance an idea is 5 letters long, potentially ending in I. I mean, not a lot of words end in I.
No.
So I think we're going to have to take that out.
There is a word. I'm sure that. So there was the Salvation Army Center in our local town where I grew up, and they do have a word for the base, but I don't know if that's...
like Chautauqua? No.
Oh, I don't know if it's quite that. I can't... Oh, no. Rob,
okay, let's keep going. Keep going. We have to keep going here. We'll fill in the holes by getting letters.
We will.
So... okay. I know Moses. It's Grandma Moses.
Okay. Oh, Grandma Moses.
Yeah. Right?
Lovely.
Like Grandma? Yeah. I think so. Eh?
So then Chicago is wrong.
Absolutely wrong. 15 down. Tap on a cask. and it is 7 letters long, and the fourth letter is G, if grandma is correct.
Oh, so this is where we need some craft beer knowledge.
Yeah, I don't think
Tap
we're
on
going to
a
get
cask.
that.
Is that, it's called, oh, it's called something like a flugel or something like that, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah,
That would
it's one
fit,
of those.
dude.
I know it does. Let's put I may be setting myself up here for
Well,
a real fall, but
but then
I'm going to guess flugel.
what's better than anything I've got, I can't even imagine and understand how and why there would be a word for that. But
But I'm
craft
already concerned,
brewers,
Rob,
the word
because
over. Yeah.
I think 17 across,
Yeah.
advance brackets an idea is 5, and my guess for that would be posit,
Yeah, that would be good.
which puts flugel out.
Okay, well, if
Sadly, because it's a lovely word.
it is a nice word, like a flugelhorn. So sedimentary rock would then start in S with an A as its third letter. Shale.
Shale, lovely.
Or-
Thank you for getting that, because I never would have.
Is a word that comes up often in the context of the American election, where Kamala Harris is reneging of her bid to ban shale gas.
Of course.
Is election fodder.
Fracking.
That's
a horrible word. That's a really onomatopoeic word that just sounds like a dreadful thing to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Oh, we're just going to do a little bit of fracking.
Just a little bit of fracking.
Horrible.
Well, it was the swear word in the the early noughts Battlestar Galactica reboot. They said frack instead as a euphemism for another word.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I explained your Star Wars fandom. Sorry, Star Trek. How dare I?
Yeah.
How dare I?
Important to do so.
Do you think we should keep going with this corner, or do you think we should get ourselves out of it just temporarily?
I think we could, because look, I think tap on a cask, it's a tap. It's not to tap a cask. It's the tap that you pull.
Yeah.
Or you put on, and I believe it's a spigot.
Oh, a spigot. Yes, of course it is.
Yeah. So I was thinking to tap.
GET?
Yeah, I think so.
Spigot. Yeah, of course it is. Well, now you've said that.
And I think Salvation Army headquarters could be Citadel. Not that I have any reason to think that, but it does fit, because it's C space T space D space something.
It's as good as any.
But three successes, Theo, would be T space E space, potentially L space for 3 successes.
So
I have no idea. Oh, treble.
A treble, of course. As in Man City won the treble.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've done that section, and now we only have the bottom right quarter. Time check, just to see where we're at.
Okay, time check. 5.5 minutes.
Okay, this is not... We have a fourth of the crossword to do in less than a quarter of the time. Upper arm muscle. And we had this for another upper arm muscle, and we learned that in England, the muscles end in S. And this is another upper arm muscle.
Is it the No.
Yeah.
I was going to say tricep.
Yep. Triceps. Yes. Given that we're taking the English crossword, English spelling.
Okay.
Ooh, this is good. It's entirely inconsequential. It is 7 letters long, first letter N, third last letter I. It is entirely inconsequential, and I think this is just the most vanilla answer to the clue that you could possibly give.
Nothing?
I think so.
Yeah. It's just nothing. It is just nothing. All right. Get thin, 20 down. You see, 5 letters. Surely. No, actually, no, it can't be diet, because that doesn't fit.
No.
Get thin. Oh, get trim.
I thought trim, but it's 4 letters, and we need 5.
Okay, let's scatter around. We haven't got time. So just over 4 minutes. 22 across. Congratulate oneself. 5 across. 22 across, 5 letters. Third letter E. Congratulate, brackets, oneself.
Yeah.
No. 16 down. 1 provides services to other businesses. 6 letters. Second letter G.
Yeah. I'm starting to doubt nothing now. It seemed too easy.
1 provides services to other businesses. I'm a Agent.
Yeah, but shoot, that would be...
Agency.
Oh, yes. So good, Theo. Yes. Yep.
I think so.
Yep. Absolutely. We have no choice. We must take that.
Yes.
Congratulate oneself is now space, E space N. Oh, man. We're coming against a time crush. So we have 3 left. Congratulate
3 left, and
oneself.
we've got a minute for each one.
Space, E space N is congratulate yourself. 20 down. Get thin. T space, a T in 5 spaces. And then full of beans is 3 spaces, and then an S, and then a space, and then a Y. So full of beans, we should be able to get like energetic or...
Gutsy.
No, because it's S
doesn't
space
fit.
Y,
No.
but that would be good.
Something
Full of
like
beans.
that. A sty. Something sty.
Yeah, I think so.
Zesty.
Yeah, I know. Or H. Full of beans. Congratulate oneself.
How does one congratulate oneself?
Preen.
Yeah, it's a guess.
Taper. Get thin. Taper.
And
then to preen. Okay, Theo, get their last one. Is it PREAN or EEN?
It is. So it's blank R, blank S, blank Y for
frisky.
Full of beans. Frisky. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, man.
I think that works. Frisky?
I think so.
Preen. I suppose preen. Yeah, preen does work, I think.
I think so.
But if you preen, does that mean isn't that more like showing off than sort of congratulating?
Yeah, but you're being self-congratulatory, right?
Okay, look, I think we can call this complete. Yeah?
Double E? Are we saying I'm preen?
Definitely double E.
Okay, definitely double E.
I will die on that hill.
Crosswords done. That was fun. Now let's have a chat.
I received the advice this week by a crossword listener, to a cross listener, that we should more often confection drama at the end, which in retrospect I think could have been better done here.
That was an opportunity there, Rob.
Yeah, I think
you have a tendency to be a bit too good at this and then take us careering over the finish line in record time.
I was frisky, Theo.
You were frisky, and then you preened, and
yes, which I'm doing right now, actually, in the privacy of my basement.
And made the crossword dreary as a result. So
apologies, listeners who are currently recumbent on their couch, ruining their listening of this podcast today.
Well, should we put them out of their misery and check all to make sure that we are correct and we have indeed scored that all-important third goal to take us to 3-1,
and
we are correct.
Bam. Yeah. Too much preening.
There you go.
Not enough drama. Apologize, listeners.
I feel like this podcast would be better if we were actually worse at crosswords. But then we do have shockers, as we did in episode 2. If you want to go back and listen to that one, as in episode 2 of this series, we fell roundly on our arses. And
yes.
So we this isn't necessarily typical, but I think maybe the more we do of these, the better we get. Rob.
What?
We haven't got it.
No.
We're wrong. There's a letter wrong. And do you know which one it is? Oh my God. The pride has come just before the fall. Toddler is tiddler.
No.
And we can't give ourselves a pass on that.
Are you sure? Because I just clicked reveal all.
It's tiddler. It's definitely tiddler.
It is. Oh.
And we guessed toddler. So we are wrong.
Oh, you know what? That was wrapped up in a perfect package of everything. The crossword led us down the garden path, got us frisky and then preening, and then took it away.
All away. So this is like VAR. This is crossword VAR.
Oh,
we haven't got the goal. In fact, worse than that, the opposition have scored. And we're now hanging our heads in shame after a dreary draw. So we're back to 2-2.
I feel like hurling a missile in the direction of the crossword center.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my God.
posit that you, and also for good measure, I misspelled spigot on mine because I
Oh,
spelled it E-T instead of
okay. Well,
I-T.
I got it. So see, then
Okay.
now that we talked about this in the last episode, what
Yeah, we
happened?
did.
I wondered
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
might get to a situation where we had a different letter in between the two of us, and we would all of a sudden get in the situation that we had presaged in the last episode, which would seem a little bit too confectioned, and we would be ejected from from the Spotify
Yeah.
podcast list for having a disingenuous podcast. On the word ejected, I had a conversation with my daughter the other day. We walked to my sister's across Mount Royal because Mount Royal is in the center of Montreal. My sister's is on the other side of Montreal, well, downtown. And we walked across the mountain, which is a beautiful wood. It is literally a forest in the middle of Montreal. And as we were
Lovely.
walking through, someone was playing trumpet, and there's a trumpet man who roams about our neighborhood playing these little jazz runs. He literally plays like 5-second jazz runs, and he just walks around all year long, summer, winter, fall, and he just plays these little tiny jazz runs, never a long piece. And so I
Like a
referred
jazz ninja.
kind of like a jazz ninja. It's just a funny thing. And
Wow.
I heard this little run in the distance, and I thought, oh, it's the trumpet man. I said, you can hear one of his little ejaculations of trumpeting, And she's like, you can't say that word. I was like, but no, that's a word that has another meaning. She's like, absolutely not. And so I had to look it up to prove it to her. And ejaculation can be a sort of excited outburst. But yeah, my daughter.
And a jazzculation.
Jazzculation, exactly. So
That could be the title of his first album.
Oh man, just a series of sort of 3-second long songs. There's like 200 of them.
Yeah. Perfect. Jazzculations.
Yeah, music for the ADD generation.
By Trumpet Ninja. I like that, Rob. I think you should get in touch with that guy and try and make this happen.
I'm gonna lure him down into my studio, just like literally just stand in front of this mic for like 2 hours and just ejaculate into this mic.
Yeah. Make sure you say ejaculate, because that could end in a very strange afternoon.
You might find that ejaculate though if I do that, Theo. That's when you over flatter a jazz man and he loses his mojo. Yeah. That's a jazzculation.
I love it when we end up on going down these strange little meanderings onto a cross. How did we get here? I
don't know how we got here. And we lost a tiddler. One's small fry. So what? I know. What is a tiddler? I guess that's a check-in for the next one.
So actually, one of my son's favorite picture books is called Tiddler by the great Julia Donaldson, and it's about
She of Donaldson's Dairy.
She of Donaldson's Dairy, Donaldson and Scheffler's Dairy. Yeah.
Yes.
So a tiddler, it just means a little thing, which I should have seen actually. Now that I am looking at it, I mean, of course, it's tiddler, not toddler. But we're honest. We're nothing if not honest onto a cross, and we have to put our hands up when we've made a howler, as we did there,
or a tiddler.
So you might have to play the other jingle to put a sort of full stop on this haunting loss.
Oh man. Very sad.
There we are. Very sad, Rob. But it does leave us in the tantalizing situation of 2-2, which means the next episode is going to be a belter.
It's going to be huge, guys.
It's going to be huge.
We're going to go to the citadel of crosswording.
Oh, Rich reminds me, that was a pin, wasn't it?
Yes.
The origin of the Salvation Army, because I claimed it for Britain, you claimed it for Canada. No, you claimed it for America.
Yeah.
So let's find out.
We want to do that now?
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it in the next?
Let's save it for the next one. I think we're going to leave our listeners in suspense.
I mean, obviously not hard to Google it yourself, but if you can hold off, or you probably know. I mean, you're probably sitting there going, yeah, obviously it's British. I'm pretty sure it's British, Rob.
So Citadel is either in Derbyshire or in Wisconsin. We'll find out on the next episode. And
it is quite strange nomenclature.
It is. It is.
To go back to a word from the previous episode, which, citadel. We're not going to call it a headquarters. We're not going to call it a base. We're going to call it a citadel, because we can, because we are the army of salvationers.
Yes. It's true.
Yeah, good for you, Salvation Army.
Well done.
Right.
Well done to make military terminology benign and put it in the service of good rather than destruction.
Well said. On which note?
We will
see you next time.
Yes, sir. You have been listening to Two Across. We are very happy to have you here with us each week, and we hope that you enjoy your listen with a cup of tea, a warm cat on your lap, or however you may choose to listen to Two Across. If you would like to support us, we would most appreciate that. You can do so by writing us a note on @2acrosspod X or 2acrosspod@gmail.com. That's all spelt out. Giving us a quick review on your favorite platform, giving a couple of stars, or sharing it with your friends. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much and have a good one.